Jenny Salesa.
Mr Chair, I'm pleased to take a call on the Social Security Clothing Allowances for Orphans and Unsupported Children Amendment Bill. The Labour Party strongly supports this bill, and may I commend Tracy Martin for bringing this bill to the House and for championing such an important issue, something that I'm passionate about and an issue that I think is important for this House to address. Children who are orphans and unsupported children usually go through a lot, often very tragic circumstances before they get to the point where they are orphans or they are not supported and they can no longer live, say, with their biological parents. For instance, both parents may have died in a car accident, for instance, or a mother might have died from cancer after suffering for many years, leaving behind 5 children. Or, as was presented to your select committee, a husband takes the life of the wife and the children are left in the care of the grandparents. Very, very tragic indeed. The state considers, as you know, Mr Chair, unsupported kids is when parents are no longer able to support them due to a family breakdown. So the circumstances where kids get to this point, either of being an orphan or being unsupported, is indeed really, really tragic. And again, I commend you, Tracy, for bringing a bill that actually would address this issue, that would bring parity for how we deal with those who are orphans, kids who are orphans, those who are unsupported, as well as those who, the state already pays the clothing allowance to at the moment. So this bill, it would no longer matter if the child is cared for by a family or by a kin person. This bill makes sure that children actually gets the clothing allowance, and I think because we are a society that should look after all of our kids, but especially those who are, at such vulnerable states like these kids. Fairness and equity is one of the core values of the Labour Party, and it's one of the reasons why we strongly support this bill. Providing parity for a foster child as well as those who are orphans and unsupported, I think, is what this bill actually does, and for that we are very, very in support of it. I was not fortunate enough to sit in the select committee that considered this bill. However, in reading the documents that came through from the committee process, it states that there are around 8,500 families and kin carers who are caring for about over 12,000 kids in this situation in New Zealand right now. A lot of kids, Mr Chair. This bill was first introduced, as far as I can see from the paperwork, in September of 2013. So it's been around for quite a while. And Mr Chair, I'd like to talk about the commencement date, which is clause 2 of this bill. This bill has come back to this to the House with a new proposed date for commencement. So the commencement clause says that it will not start after it receives royal assent, not even this year in 2015. It won't even begin next year, Mr Chair. It is not until 3 whole years from now, in July 2018, that this Act may come into force after it gets through the 3rd reading. And may I just reiterate what my colleague Ms Ardern stated earlier on, that the Labour Party is in full support of Jan Logie's supplementary order paper, and if I can just quote from it, the SOP clause 2 will change the commencement date of this bill, bringing it forward from 1 July 2018 to 3 months after the date on which it receives royal assent. Mr Chair, the Labour Party supports this SOP, and we hope that the government considers it favourably. If our children, Mr Chair, are a priority for this government, and I believe that it is, especially our most vulnerable children, then implementing a bill like this one, implementing this on behalf of orphaned and unsupported children, should be a priority now, today in 2015, not 3 years from now in July of 2018. We believe that if New Zealand really wants the best outcomes for children, then we need to invest and prioritise the policies that focus on our children, especially our most vulnerable kids. All children in New Zealand deserve equal opportunities. Mr Chair, would like to thank you and would like to thank Tracy Martin for bringing this bill to the House. The Labor Party is very, very pleased to support this bill.
Mr Chair.
Tracy Martin.
Thank you.